Hello! Let me know if you can hear me okay. How's things? What's happening? More releases! More releases today, huh? Cool. Let's see. Without seeing the points yet, how do you think we'll look? I mean, I've seen the points. But I mean, I've looked at them for 1 second. I was actually trying to find my old chapter approved book to see if I had a reasonable comparison.
I have awoken.
Thank you so much for the support for 25 months, Tarzan. I appreciate it. I don't have a clue where my chapter approved books are. I guess for a while, for like last year, they did digital points, didn't they? So you guys in chat will need to keep me right on what the old points / new points look at. And also we're gonna make a new list. We'll build an army list here. I think we'll build an army list. Okay. So yeah, annoyingly, I suppose what I could do is I could load Battle Scribe on my other screen, because I think the points in the codex from last time around are like, they're so out of date. And the mic is distorted. I can't hear myself. I don't know how to check that. I mean, I haven't changed anything on the microphone. Anyone else think the microphone sounds distorted? Alright, I'll pull up this Battle Scribe on my other screen. Hopefully I can still see Battle Scribe, I can still see you guys' chat. Okay. So Astrath, he has gone from 140 points to 100 points. Okay, so he went down quite a bit. That sounds fine, I appreciate that. I noticed that it looks like it is fixed unit sizes. So you can't... You do a 5-man death company or a 10-man death company, that is it. There's no flexibility here now. I'm not sure I'm in love with that. Val Predators, they'd gone down to like 110 points. So they've gone up. So Astaroth has gone down like 25%. Val Predators have gone up about 10%. Corbulo and Tycho. God, no one ran Corbulo or Tycho, right? Corbulo was 95, he's gone down to 75. No, sorry, Tycho is 95, he's gone down to 75. And Corbulo has gone from... He was actually over 100, he was 115. So he's gone down to 75. Give me a shout in chat if there's something that is exciting and you're going to run it. I'm just going to run through points first, and then we'll talk about other stuff after. Mephiston used to be 125, so he went down 5. Dante used to be 175, so he went down 75. So Dante took a huge drop, actually. Death Company Dreadnoughts took a massive increase. Death Company Dreadnoughts were like 125. They go to 195. What's interesting here is none of this stuff has points. So is it the same as Arts of Omen? Your war gear is just free? I assume so. Let me read. I didn't read the start of the document. I probably should. This document determines the points values. Each entry in a list increments to a unit size that incurs different points. This may change with the addition of individual models. Or it may be presented with a lower and upper limit to the unit starting strength, e.g. one cost for 5 models, another cost for 10 models. In the latter case, your unit can contain a number of models in between these limits, but you still must pay the maximum points cost for the unit that starts the game with more than its minimum number of models. You can learn more about mustering your army. So if you have 9 Death Company models, you could run 9, but you still have to pay the points cost for 10. Okay. The document lists the points values for every unit at the time of publication, including those available for Warhammer, and these replace any points cost previously published. It will update it periodically. But there was no mention of war gear. So war gear is just free, same as Arts of Omen. It doesn't even mention war gear in the entire document. So So I guess we're not paying for... So if you want to take a Meltagon, if you want to take a Heavy Flamer, all that stuff is free. Seems like it. Someone correct me if I'm wrong on that. You can have 7 people in a squad, but it still costs the same as it would for 10 people. Why would... I mean, the only advantage I can see is to take 9 so you don't get blast, or maybe you take 1 less to fit in a transport. So, I don't like that at all, but whatever. Death Company Intercessors were 90, so no change on those guys. Death Company Marines with jump packs are 155 points for 5. That's a huge increase for like the Infernal Pistol Power Sword guys. They got a lot more expensive. Thunderhammer Death Company actually got 10 points cheaper. So maybe 5-man squads with Thunderhammers is the best way to run them now. I mean, you could have argued that that was the case anyway. Next up, Furioso Dreadnought. Gone up quite a lot. I'm not sure these Dreadnoughts are going to get any play if they go up this much, but let's see. Furioso Dreadnought went up like 10, 20, 30, maybe even close to 40%. It's kind of crazy. Gabriel Seth, I don't know. I don't know his old points cost.
I have a woman.
Magtha, thank you so much for subscribing. Lamarta's has gone up about 10%. The Librarian Dreadnought has gone up like 25%. Sangre Guard have gone up a lot here. I guess the Infernal Pistol meta has maybe forced them to go up. Sangre Guard are now like 42.5 points a model or something. 5 divided by 215, like I think it's 43 points per model. What? That's not 5. 215 divided by 5. 43 points per model. Wow. For a 2-wound model? Really? Sangre Guard are way expensive now. I'm trying to think if they got better or worse. I think they stayed the same. So they kind of stayed the same, but they went up 30% in cost, man. I think the only reason they did that maybe is they did this before, right? They jumped up and down all the way through 9th edition. They never managed to balance Sangre Guard. They never managed to get them balanced. All the way through 9th edition. The reason they'll have made them so expensive is that you don't want people running 3 squads of 10. I actually don't think that's optimal, but you can't even run 3 squads of 10 anymore because that's going to be 1,300 points. That's ridiculous. This is basically your whole army at that point. Add like a couple of characters and that's your whole army. Yeah, these guys are way too expensive. I might run 5. I've been running 5 in Arcs of Omen and that's it. That's horrific. Unless everything else has got objectively worse, that's a horrific cost for Sangre Guard. Michael says in the chat they've increased the cost to stop the spam. Yeah, probably. So we normal Blood Angels players that don't run a million Sangre Guard get hurt because other people spam the shit out of them, and that's the bottom line, I guess. I made a video the other day about Vanguard veterans. Let's see where they land, because it might... A couple of my favourite squads here have been like Sangre Guard, that's horrific, and Death Company with Infernal Pistols and Power Swords is also kind of horrific. Gitley says rip Sangre Guard. Hello, Robert. What's weird about the points cost? What's your question? All Thunderhammer Death Company models are 10 points cheaper. Yes. So I mean, I guess the way you should do it is just run 2 5-man squads of Death Company with just Thunderhammers. What's mad though is Jump Pack Death Company with Chainswords now. If you wanted to run a 10 of them, that's ridiculous expensive. Like, it's almost too expensive to even consider. No, it probably is too expensive to consider. 10 Death Company with like Chainswords for 310 points. That's crazy. Sangre Priest coming in at 100 points, and then this time they made his jump pack cheap at least. He's only 10 points more for for the version of him with the jump pack. That's nice, I guess. It was a bit silly that his jump pack before cost 35 points. So the Sanguinary Priest, I think he used to be 90 and then the jump pack was 30. So he's realistically he's down, or the jump pack version of him is down like 10%. The Sanguinor last edition, nobody ran him last edition, period. Like, literally no one ran them. He was 150, he's gone up 10 points. I think an increase of 10 points where he fights first when Heroic intervenes is probably valid. And then Tycho the Lost, he was 95, he's gone down to 90. I guess, again, he's probably a bit better than he was before. And if we want to take our enhancements, they're going to cost 20 points for the Archangel Shard. I think that was like, that gives you the ability. Do you know what? I'll just bring it up because I've read our enhancements. I'm not overly fond, whatever, however you want to work it. I'm not overly sold or fond on any of them. Blood Angels enhancements. Let me mute my phone. Sorry about that if you're hearing it ping. Artisan of War is give you a 2-up save and 1 more AP for 20 points. Seems kind of pricey, actually. Like, 1 more on your save and 1 more on your AP, typically, for 20 points. I don't like it. Maybe there's a situation I don't see, but I'm just giving you my first impressions. Archangel Shard gives you anti-chaos on 5s on Lance. So Lance is +1 to wound. You would just have +1 wound all the time. And then you would have anti-chaos 5-up. I mean, I guess situationally, maybe if you're playing into chaos, that could be okay for 25 points. But again, it seems expensive when you're probably likely, like if you have a really strong character and he's with a unit and you really want to wound the enemy, would you not just play Red Rampage on the squad and get Lance? So Archangel Shard is... Icon of Angel is the one that prevents some falling back. Each time an enemy within the agent range, excluding monsters and vehicles, is likely to fall back, they need to take desperate breakout tests. I mean, for 10 points, that might be okay. Throw 10 points at it at the end of your list. And Visage of Death is halving the obsec of basically non-monsters and infantry for 15 points. Again, so Visage and Icon seem much more valuable than the other two, but that's just my opinion. Let me catch up on some of the questions from chat. If anyone wants to use the free super chat, do that. Do you think the Sanguinor is worth it, says JLM? Yes, I like the Sanguinor now. I think he's pretty good. Isn't the Sanguinary Priest kind of bad because of what he can join and the lack of healing? I wouldn't say he's bad because he looks like he'd be okay with Vanguard Veterans. We're going to have to see how much Vanguard Veterans are. I can't imagine Vanguard Veterans are going to be 215 points for 5, but we'll see. Death Company Dread at 195 points seems crazy, yes. Good morning, Phil. How you doing? 565 points for Dante and 10 Sanguinary Guard. 445 for Martis and a Jump Death Company. That's half the damn army in 2 units. Yeah, I don't think you could run those guys. I don't think you can run Sanguinary Guard or Death Company in 10s. Not that many people do, but I think it's going to have to be 5s. And in some ways, that's really frustrating because we often talk about, like, what is the optimal number of models for Sanguinary Guard? Well, most people think it's a 7. We have no option of fielding 7 anymore. DTM says there's no way they're going to get points credit out of the gate. No, I get that, DTM, but they've been notoriously bad for getting the Sanguinary Guard points right. I don't think they got them right at all in 9th edition. They basically they swing from they're unplayable to they're the best thing that we have every single 3-month or 6-month season, and they've done that all the way through. And they need somebody that's got a bigger brain to look at the Sanguinary Guard, because it's very, as a Blood Angels player, it's very frustrating in that, like, one season it's like, yes, you should run all Sanguinary Guard. Next season it's like, no, you shouldn't run any Sanguinary Guard. And honestly, that happened like 3 times during 9th edition.
I have awoken.
Nathan says Scepters seem viable now. Nathan, thank you so much for 13 months of subscription. I really do appreciate it. Okay, so that's Blood Angels. Let's have a look at I'm just going to open the Space Marine stuff in a new tab. Space Marines. It was on page 25. I actually just printed this out. Okay. Aggressors at 110 points. Before, I think aggressors were down at 30 points per model, so they've gone up maybe 90 to 110, about 20%. And Ancient and Terminator armor has pretty much stayed the same. I mean, I think he was 100 points before, and you could pay 10 points to get a Thunderhammer. Fine. The Apothecary Biologist, he's that new Apothecary for 55 points. He's Gravis. I actually don't remember how many wounds he has, that new Gravis Apothecary. Biologist? The Apothecary Biologist. He's 5 wounds, he's toughness 6. He has a potential of OC 9. He's OC 3. I think 55 points for this guy might actually make him pretty good. Assault Intercessors, 5 is 90 points. That's pretty much the same. I think that's got an increase of 5 points. Assault Squad, I think again that's an increase of... Oh, actually, I think his Assault Squad with jump packs used to be 90. So Assault Squads have gone up like 20%. Servitors have gone up from 30 to 55. No idea why. I guess servitors aren't really matter. I don't know why they've gone up so much. Thoughts on Death Company still seems decent from the Death Company Dreadnought from Reserve. Yes. What's the logic on only allowing 5 or 10s? They can't divide 5 by 10 and let's pick our squad size. The logic between 5 and 10 is 2 scoops. Is what we've been saying a couple of times in this last week, is that they're trying to make it a more balanced game, and it's easier for them to balance if it's a 5-man or a 10-man squad, and they can price the whole squad as opposed to pricing. But it is very frustrating for like an army like us, where like we typically know 7s on Sangre Guard is the best number. So now we lose some of that flexibility, I guess. Attack bikes gone up very slightly. I think they were 50 points per model. The Ballistus Dreadnought is that new Dreadnought coming at 170 points for like a twin las cannon and a Cyclone missile launcher and a Redemptor chassis. I mean, that's okay. What did the Brutalis come in as? Oh my goodness, 220 points for a Brutalis Dreadnought. That's gone up 20 points, so it's gone up like 10%. What did a Redemptor Dreadnought come in as? Redemptor Dreadnought, where the hell is it? 225 points. Wow, okay. So Redemptor Dreadnoughts have gone up like 15-20% as well. So maybe the Dreadnoughts aren't as bad because the points for all the Dreadnoughts have gone flying up. Blade Guard were 35 per model, so 105 for 3. They're now 100. So you can take 6 Blade Guard for 200 points, or you can take 5 Sangre Guard for 215 points. They basically have the same weapon. I think they have the same number of attacks, do they? How many attacks does a Blade Guard get? No, that's the Ancient, sorry. Not that anyone will field the Ancient. Blade Guard gets 4 attacks, so it'll be 5 in the charge. Strength 5 minus 2 damage. Sangre Guard get 5 attacks on the charge as well. Strength 5 minus 2 damage. So you get 1 extra Blade Guard. Every model has an extra wound and a 4-up invuln. And you're 15 points cheaper. That's interesting. Yeah, I think I reserve my thought on Sangre Guard are probably overcosted right now. What would 6 Blade Guard have cost before? 6 Blade Guard would have cost before 210, and 6 Sangre Guard used to cost 180. So Sangre Guard used to be 15 or 20% cheaper than 6 Blade Guard. Now they're 10% more expensive. So in terms of like, if you think of the scale, what I'm trying to think what Sangre Guard has got them, like... They still have the -1 to wound. And if they're led by the Warlord, they can... Sorry, they get -1 to... I guess they can get Object Control 2 and they can take the banner. That's probably why we're going to have to pay so much for them then. Because Sangre Guard have the banner in the squad, you don't have to pay for the banner. They're Objective Control 2. Why would you not take the banner and make them Objective Control 2? So 5 of them, 10 of them seem just crazy expensive. 5 of them are pretty expensive. Maybe we'll see some people run like 2 5-man squads for Sangre Guard, but you can't really go much. I feel like you can't go much above that. A captain used to be... I think a captain used to be about 85 points. Yeah, so very small changes on the captain. Gravis captain used to be 105. So again, small changes on these. I think the Terminator captain used to be 100. Now he's down 5. So very small changes. Captain on a bike is down to 95 points now. I think he was 100, but you had to pay a bunch for war gear on him. Like, could a smash captain on a bike without a squad be viable? I just love my captain on a bike, you know that? Captain, is it not on a bike? Yeah, not on a bike, on bike, sorry. So this guy's 95 points now. He can have 7 wounds. He can still have his Thunderhammer for 5 attacks, 6 attacks, strength 9 on the charge. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if there's going to be any play for single characters on their own. But the captain on the bike doesn't look horrific. He doesn't pair with anything that's exciting for Blood Angels. The captain on a jump pack again, 100 points. Again, you could run a smash version of that. I don't know if there's any play around that. Possibly not. We'll have to see. Centurions. Centurions. They used to be 180 for 3. They're now 175. They've got more toughness. They still have those like pretty sexy drills. A bike squad is pretty cheap. Yeah, you know what? A bike squad is pretty cheap. I don't have any bikes though. Sangre Guard are overcosted because they don't have new models to sell. I don't think it's to do with the models on the cost sellers. I think it's to do with they struggled to balance Sangre Guard a bunch of times in 9th edition. Remember, because we had them at 30 points per model, and the Plasma Pistols and Power Fists and Infernal Pistols were all 5 points. Then we had it 32 points per model, and then we eventually, at the end of the edition, got them back at 30 points per model, and then we got the free war gear. They never had them. They never had them in a good spot. Centurion Devastators. Not that I ever run Centurion Devastators. What do they even cost? Devastator. What are they even called? Oh, they've been heavy support. Centurion Devastators used to be 210, so no real change. I don't think anyone runs a Chaplain. The Chaplain on the bike went down a bit. He's down to 80 points. But again, I'm not sure there's anything exciting for a Chaplain on a bike to attach to. Not a Chaplain on a bike attached to. Bikes are Outriders. You can give +1 to wound. I mean, +1 to wound on Outriders wouldn't be the end of the world. Ranged weapons having mortals is... It's going to be twin-link bolt rifles. It's not that exciting, I think. Traveling on a bike at 80 points, though, is probably fine. I mean, he's a decent character. He lost a couple of wounds, though. I think he used to be 6 or 7 wounds, actually. Command squad at 165 points. I guess there's no real comparison against that because they didn't exist before. Contemptor Dreadnoughts at 170. That's an increase of 10, maybe a little bit more. But Contemptor Dreadnoughts are really interesting because they revive on 2-up now, right? DDM says you don't mind 175 for Centurions with +2 toughness and the 2-up save. It's a lot better than 10th. Yeah, the 2-up save is a lot better than 10th, and so is toughness 7. And Centurions drills. Like, as a Blood Angel player, you're going to be worried about anti-armor a lot, I think. I think Centurion's drills are still really good, right? Like 4 attacks on the charge, weapon skill 3 up, strength 11, 3 damage each, and they get sustained hits 2 against monsters, vehicles, and fortifications. So if you've got 12 attacks, you're probably going to roll a couple of 6s. You're probably going to roll a couple of misses. So basically, they almost have like a 100% hit rate. Because if you roll 12 dice, you should get 2 1s, 2 2s, 2 3s, 2 4s, 2 5s, 2 6s. So your 2 6s proc you 4 extra hits, which makes up for the 2 1s and the 2 2s that you missed with. So 12 attacks actually becomes 12 hits, give or take. I know this for a fact because Andrew used to run... One of my biggest opponents, Andrew, used to run the Lightning Locks on the Chaos Knights, and Lightning Locks were identical. They were Ballistic Skill 3 up, but 6s proc 2 extra hits. And the Lightning Locks, I think there was 2 Lightning Locks, and you got 12 attacks. And he pretty much always rolled and got like a couple of 6s, which makes up for all the misses. So you end up with, 90% of the time, you would end up with all 12 hits. So you get 12 hits at strength 11. And then on the odd mad case where you roll 3 or 4 6s, I remember one time I think you got 15 hits with the Lightning Locks. So it is possible to get more than your base 12. It happens. Two Scoops says a triple Gravis Captain in the Stormraven. Why? What else? What have I missed? What can go in the Stormraven with the triple Gravis Captain? Any opinion on the command squad? Seems like an interesting way to get a respawning bodyguard unit onto the field for firstborn characters. I kind of like the command squad. I was looking at it a little bit this week. Because you can revive, because you get +1 to charge, because Tycho can be attached to it, and here's the messed up thing with the command squad, Benjamin. The 2 ancients in the command squad that can take storm shields can take las cannons, and Tycho can make those las cannons rapid fire. So you have rapid fire las cannons on guys with storm shields that can be revived every turn. I think the command squad's a little bit all over the place. 165 points for 5 models, especially because they can revive one for free every turn, +1 to charge. I mean, it might not be. It might. Maybe we're talking. Maybe command squads are a thing. Devastator squad at 120 actually seems pretty cheap. Especially if you took las cannons or something. A normal dreadnought is 160. Again, that's quite a bit of an increase. A drop pod is 70. That's a bit of a decrease. Eliminator is 95 points. Pretty much stayed. I was going to say no, they didn't stay the same at all. They went from 75 to 95. So eliminators are up. Eradicators are down quite a bit, but I guess that makes sense because Malta is not nearly going to be as effective. The Fire Strike Servo Turret, I don't even know what points that cost before. It used to cost 80, it still costs 80. So, I think Fire Strike Servo Turret's got better, but I just don't know if we're going to see that many of them. The Reaper went up 5 points. The Valiant seems like it's come down quite a lot of points. I think that was at 180. And I think the Lancer was maybe a little bit cheaper. Lancer was 125 and the Valiant was 170. So the Valiant is the one with the 4 multi-meltas. Again, I guess because multi-meltas got worse and the twin las fusils, I think. Hammerfall Bunkers over doubled. They used to be 100 points. They're up to 210. It's a weekend with Bernie's with the command squads. The sellers, yeah, the command squad seems strange. Devastator's 20 points for 4 multi-meltas. The thing is, multi-meltas don't kill armor anymore. So I think you maybe want las cannons in Devastator squad now. 95 points for 3 Eradicators seem very cheap. Again, I mean, it does seem cheap. I mean, I have a bunch of Eradicators, I just don't know. Did I miss Desolation Marines? Sorry, skipped right over them. Desolation Marines at 120 points per model. Actually, that makes Devastators look really expensive then. Desolation Marines are way, way, way better than Devastators in my opinion. Do you know what? I haven't actually looked at the Sherb rules for Devastators. Each time the model remains stationary in the start of the next movement phase, you can ignore cover. Once per battle, making a hit roll for a model, you can change that roll to unmodified 6. Okay, so the Sherb is actually worse. Yeah, Desolation Marines are going to be good. I was making them on stream. I'm going to continue to make mine probably this weekend. If you remain stationary, your super crack missiles hit on 3s, strength 10, -2, d6 +1, and then every model has the castle launcher, which on average is 2 shots, hit on 3s, strength 4, 0, 1, but if you remain stationary, then you can ignore cover, and you can ignore the penalty from indirect fire. So if you put somebody next to them that could let them reroll 1s or something, like a default dreadnought, and then you also use like a land speeder, these guys can basically, 5 of them will get 10 indirect shots on average, hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s. And then there's other ways you can buff them with like bolter discipline. You can give them sustained hits. You can give them, I guess if you're running the Blood Angels attachment, you can't buff them. But if you're running the Gladiators detachment, you can give them sustained hits. And you can also make it that basically like each 5 up gives you the sustained hits, which is actually really powerful. So yeah, Desolation Marines. If you didn't buy Strike Force Augustus, I guess you're going to convert some Desolation Marines. Is there a link to the points cost? Sure, Brad. I'll just put it in the chat right now. You know what? I'll put it in the video description as well. Okay. What else we got? Hammerfall Bunker, we said, is up loads. Heavy Intercessors, pretty much staying the same. Hellblasters, they used to be about 33 points. Hellblasters are down loads, actually. But I guess Plasma isn't as good as it was before. Impulsors are down a bit, I guess, if you can get like free war gear on them. Inceptors are down quite a lot, but Plasma isn't as good again. Incursors are similar. Infernus squads, 90 points per model, or 90 points per 5. I don't know if I like Infernus squads. I don't think they're that great. Infiltrator squads are now the same points as Incursors, so Infiltrators are really good. I mean, Infiltrators are already really good. Intercessors at 95. Why the hell are Intercessors more than Incursors and Infiltrators? Was there something I missed on Intercessors datasheet? Surely not. They get sticky objectives. That isn't... I'm going to say that's worth 5 more points than like 12-inch deep strike denial when everybody's going to be able to put stuff in deep strike. I mean, I guess you can get a free Thunderhammer on the Sergeant and maybe a free grenade launcher, and you can sticky objectives. Yeah, I mean, okay. Invader ATVs at 80 points. I can't see those getting much play. Invictor Tactical Warsuits 160. Ironclad Dreadnought at 150. What's the toughness on the Ironclad again? It's like the cheapest. It's toughness 10, 2 up save, 10 wounds. When you make attacks against vehicles or fortifications, add 1 to the hit and 1 to the wound roll. Ironclads are still in a good spot then. Like they're kind of the cheapest dreadnought, right? Sticky objectives and way better shooting for the Incursors, okay. They have OC2. Oh, right, yeah, they have OC2 as well. I guess we're paying some points for that. What madness is this? This is the points they just dropped today for 10th edition. You'll stick with your Tactical Marines. I guess we'll get to them in a minute. Judas ER at 75 points is nice. What did he used to cost? I think he used to cost about that. He used to cost 75, so he stayed the same, which is nice. He's going to be super important. Land Raiders, Crusaders, and Redeemers. Wow, they're all pretty expensive. So Land Raiders, I think they used to be 220. So they've jumped up. All of them used to be about, like, the Redeemer used to be 245. The Crusader used to be 245. And a regular Land Raider used to be they're 245. Okay, so the Crusader is the cheapest one now, I guess, with the biggest transport capacity, but lack of anti-armor shooting. 275 for a Land Raider. It's about double the points of a Gladiator. Interesting. Before I saw the points cost, I quite liked the idea of fielding Land Raider Redeemers. Now I don't like it. Landspeeder at 70 points, Landspeeder Storms. Sorry, Landspeeder 80, Landspeeder Storm at 70. They've creeped up a little bit. I think a Landspeeder was all the way down at 60. So up about 20 or 30%. The Tornado is 95 points. This is every single balanced data slate. Whoever's balancing Land Raiders doesn't know the strength. Sorry, Landspeeders doesn't know the strength of Landspeeders. I guess there's... Because the regular speeder for 80 points is going to have a multi-melta, and it's going to add 1 to the hit roll for anything else with a blast keyword for the rest of the turn. And you also get to ignore cover. Whereas this can do some mortal wounds when it flies over the enemy, and on top of your multi-melta you get an assault cannon. I don't know. Tornadoes have been overcosted like so many times in the last couple of years. I feel like I'm still unlikely to ever run a Tornado. I think the regular one is better. Today is the day of reckoning. I will be running Librarian Dreadnought in every game. How many points was he again? What was he? 190? 185. He's quite expensive. Anyway, Librarian, 70 points. Librarian with a jump pack, 75 points. It's quite weird that in some cases, they used to, like last edition, they used to charge so much to take these jump packs. Now the jump pack's just free. It's like, whatever. Okay, the jump pack's free on a Librarian. Sure. I mean, why not? So Librarian used to be 80 points. So he's actually gone down, and I guess the jump pack one would have been 100 points because they would have charged us at least 20, 25 points for the jump pack. Lieutenants, I'm not going to be running Lieutenants myself, probably, because they have no jump packs, and I don't really like their rules anymore. But they've gone up, the basic one's gone up a few points. They used to be about 70. The Phobos Armor one has gone down. The Reaver Armor one has gone down a bit. Sorry, the Reaver Armor one has stayed the same. Alright, Outriders. 3 Outriders for 115 points. That means Outriders are 38 points per model on Outriders. I feel like I don't like that. They just have chain swords. They just have like twin linked bolters. I'm probably not. I like the look of Outriders, but I don't know if I feel them. I guess the reason they've gone up is because they're OC2. I don't think they're a very killy unit though. 5 chainsword per guy. You're only have 15 chainswords for 115 points. But I guess you are going to get OC6 and some additional durability. The Librarian Dreadnought can yeet the Centurions forward, which is their biggest flaw. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's true. Is the Death Company Dreadnought any good? I mean, he's expensive. He's 195 points, which is kind of crazy. So he's more expensive than like the 13 wound Dreadnought, the Ballistus. He's a little bit cheaper than the Brutalis, but not all that much considering he has like 4 less wounds. I mean, Death Company Dreadnought versus the Brutalis Dreadnought. I feel like I probably just want to take a Brutalis now. As cool as the Death Company Dreadnought looks, I think he's too expensive. Okay, let's see. What else we got? So Outriders are expensive. We've gathered that. Predator Annihilators for 130, Predator Destruction for 135. I don't know what Predator used to cost. Pretty much bang on. 130 was the cost of the Destructor before, so not much change on Predators. I guess the las cannons potentially got a lot better, so like the Annihilator maybe is a lot better now because it's got, what, 2 las cannons and a twin-link las cannon on it. The Annihilator is the one with the las cannons, right? Yeah, so it's got a twin-link las cannon, which is strength 14, then it's got 2 strength 12 las cannons. Each time an attack is made by this model, 2 vehicles or monsters reroll damage of 1. It's got d6 plus 1. So yeah, I mean the Predator Annihilator is... It's gone up a bit. It used to be 115, but I think it's a lot better than it was before. I don't know if we'll see any sort of return of Predator Annihilators, but just take the Ironclad Dreadnought for 70 points less. DTM says, yeah, probably Ironclad Dreadnought looks really... Like, the Ironclad's been good for a while, but it looks really good. The Primaris Company Champion is at 55 points. Again, he can join Blade Guard and give them +1 to advance and charge. So that's pretty nice. Primaris Librarians for 70 points. I think that's fairly... I think that's come down a little bit. Primaris Librarian used to be 85. So I think we haven't quite got to the end yet, but I think basically your army, like your 2,000 point army, is going to be a similar number of units. Some things seem to have gone up 20 or 30%, some things seem to have come down 20 or 30%. The Tech Marine has come down from 80 to 65. A Razorback for 100 points seems okay. Redemptor Dreadnought seem quite expensive at 225, considering they have no anti-armor. Reavers at 95 points. I think that means I'll never run Reavers. Relic Terminators 200 points, or Repulsor at 195 points. Whoa. Why is the Repulsor 80 points cheaper than a Land Raider? What's the difference? It's got 1 less on its armor save? That's 80 points less? Repulsor Executioner at 230. What did a Repulsor used to cost again? So Repulsor used to be 220 in Arts of Omen, and that was with like all the free war gear. I don't know. And a Repulsor Executioner used to be 230. So the Primaris tanks have had some favoritism here, I feel like. I don't think there's any reason a Repulsor needed to be that much different than a Land Raider. The Repulsor has that cool ability where units can go back inside the transport if they're targeted for a charge. It has a... What's its weapon options? The model is equipped with a Heavy Onslaught Gatling, a Hunter Slayer missile, the Repulsor Defensive Array, the Twin Heavy Bolter, and the Armored Hull. You can replace the Twin Heavy Bolter with the Twin Las Cannon, and you can replace the Onslaught Cannon with the Las Talon. I mean, if you compare it to like a Land Raider, Land Raider has like twin heavy bolter and twin las cannons. So you get a little bit more firepower maybe. I don't want to look at the Redeemer. I just want the regular Land Raider because it was like 275 points, so 80 points more. So you get 2 more las cannon shots, but none of them are twin linked. I suppose you can take a free multi-melta. I don't know, repulsors. I guess you've got the assault ramp on the Land Raider as well, which I guess is worth something, right? But if you're just looking for like a transport, you're not wanting to assault, then the repulsor looks a lot, like just a lot more viable in terms of like a lot less points, right? Like 80 points less. It's like it's almost a third less. 195 divided by 275. Yeah, there's like 30% less points. The Land Raiders' last cannons are strength 12 instead of strength 10. Okay. I mean, you've got devastating wounds on the repulsor. I'm not convinced. Not that, I mean, I have a repulsor and I have a Land Raider. I prefer my Land Raider. But just the points cost to me just screams out like... I mean, the last cannon is strength 12 on the repulsor DTM. So it's the same, and it's twin-linked. So you get 2 less shots, or you get 3 less shots. Alright, it's twin-linked. Okay, maybe. It's the last Talon. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you put the last Talon on it... I feel like their damage output is comparable. I don't know if it's 80 points less. Anyway, let's move on. Let's keep looking at the point costs. Where am I? So Repulsor seems like a standout in terms of cheapness. Scout bikes are 75 points. I don't know. I never run Scout bikes. I've never owned Scout bikes. Scouts are 70 points. I think that's a decrease. Scouts used to be elites. Oh, they used to be 60 points. But I guess by the time you start putting, like... I think you had to pay, like... Well, I actually don't know. You definitely had to pay for the rifles at some point, but I guess that's gone. Sternguard, 105 points. They were 100, and they've lost a bunch of weapon options. The Storm Speeders, 130... 160, 160, so a bit of variance on the Storm Speeders. I think a few of them have actually increased and a few of them have gone down. The Hail Strike used to be 115, and the other two used to be 125 and 135. They've both gone up to 160, so about a 15% increase on both of them. I never run a Stormhawk, so I mean... Stormhawk used to be 185, it's now 165. Storm Raven used to be 260, it's now 255. Storm Talon used to be 160, so it's 175. Suppressors used to be 100, they're down to 95. I think Suppressors got a lot better. I think the heavy changes help Suppressors a lot, potentially. I don't know if we'll see anyone run Suppressors, but like, I think they did get quite a bit better. Tech Marine, like the firstborn one, is 70. I think he was 75 before. Maybe he was 70. He was 70. Okay, so no change. Assault Terminators, 200 points for model, or 200 points for 5. Terminators with bolt guns, 205 for 5. Both squads of Terminators used to be similar in cost. I think they were about 165 before. Terminators did get like more invulnerable save added to them. Like they have a better invuln. The assault ones potentially have more wounds. I guess you could put on a free cyclone missile launcher on. So Terminators are largely unchanged. My question, I suppose, is like 5 Terminators with 4 wounds, toughness 5, and thunderhammers, and a 4-up invuln. Hey, Alan Phoenix, welcome back to the holiday. So 5 Terminators with 5 toughness, a 4-up invuln, and a thunderhammer are 15 points cheaper than 5 Sanguinary Guard, which which is what it is, I guess. The thing about making it like one profile like this and removing the cost for war gear, I guess, is it makes it impossible to run those cheap squads. You know, like in Sanguinary Guard, you used to go like, well, I'll run Bolt and Jealous Bolters because these guys are already really expensive. You don't get the option to do that anymore. Thunderfire Cannon is 90 points. I have no idea what a Thunderfire Cannon was before. It was 120, so Thunderfire Cannons have come down 25%. Vanguard Veterans, 5 models is 120 points. Holy shit. Holy shit. Okay, so this is what I was saying this week. Vanguard Veterans are like way better now than Sanguinary Guard. And, oh, well, with jump packs, they're going to cost 10 points more. So Vanguard Veterans are 130 divided by 215. They're 40% cheaper than Sanguinary Guard. I did the maths this week already on a video and showed you guys that they're literally as survivable as Sanguinary Guard. They're more survivable in shooting, maybe a tiny bit less survivable in close combat. They're the most durable jump unit you can get because you can give them a 4-up invuln. So the person who put the points cost down for Sanguinary Guard was a different person than did the Vanguard Veterans with jump packs, because, well, it might not have been a different person, but it's 40% more expensive. Like, this is where it stands, right? It's 40% more expensive to potentially add OC2. Listen, like, OC2 is good, and a 2 damage weapon, because that's really the only difference. And that, you know, that increases the points per model from, well, what are Vanguard Veterans 130 divided by 5? That increases the points per model from 26 to 43. So they're charging 17 points for an Incarnate Blade to do like 1 more damage, 1 more EP, and then OC2. It feels quite a lot. Vindicators are 205 points. I tell you, I didn't expect that. I thought they might go up in points. Vindicators are like really good now. A Vindicator used to be 120, so the Vindicator has gone up like 40% or something. It's kind of crazy. The good old Whirlwind stayed at 125 points. I feel like they don't know what they're doing with the Whirlwind either. They just leave it at 125. It was rubbish last edition, or it was rubbish in Arts of Omen. They just left it at 125. Are you taking in the cost of the Sanguinary Priest to make them as survivable? I suppose we're not taking in the cost of the Sanguinary Priest. How much was he? $100. But you'd still be 10 Vanguard Veterans with jump packs and a Sanguinary Priest. It's still 70 points less than 10 Sanguinary Guard. And then, I mean, that squad will have a 5-up Feel No Pain Against Mortal Wounds from enemy psychic or whatever can do mortal wounds, whereas the Sanguinary Guard have no protection at all against mortals. Dante cannot go with Vanguard Veteran Assault Squads. What makes you think he can? I thought Dante could only. There was a sheet that I shared the other day on the community tab that showed what Dante can go with, right? I mean, would you want Dante with anything but Sanguinary Guard? Here it was. Oh, he can. He can go with Vanguard Veterans Assault Squads. Okay. I mean, but does he do anything? He gives them +1 to hit? He gives them +1 to their hit. I guess +1 to charge as well. Okay, I mean, Dante with Vanguard Veterans with a priest. I don't know. Yeah, sorry. I'm going to come back to that in a second. The Gladiator's Detached Force. Let's have a look at their relics real quick. Artificer Armor was give a character A 2-up save and a 5-up feel no pain for 10 points. That's actually pretty good, I think. 10 points for a 5-up feel no pain on a good character, giving him a 2-up save as well. I think that's pretty good. At the start of your battle command phase, if the captain's on the battlefield, instead of selecting Combat Doctrine and be active from your army, you can select the Tactical Doctrine. If you do until the next command phase, that doctrine is active for the bearer's unit only. 20 points to switch your doctrine. I mean, might be good. I don't know if it's that good for Blood Angels. Bolt or Discipline was the one that everybody thought was really good, 25 points. That's probably fair. That is a really good enhancement. And then the one that gives you +1 attacks, +1 strength, and while you're an Assault Doctrine, +2 attacks and +2 strength is 15. It's possibly okay as well. And that's it. That's the points costs for Blood Angels. I'm going to hang around for 10 minutes and take some questions from chat. So if you have some questions, please put them in. If you have a desperate question, you can always super chat it. And then I think I'm going to go because we're planning a live tactics stream tonight in about 5 hours time from now. So there'll be a stream tonight. You don't start the game with any CP bricks, so yes, enhancements do cost points. Terminators and Blade Guard. I was going to say, I really think Blade Guard are looking really attractive, actually. 200 points for 6, plus a Judiciar Primaris Champion, 255 or 275. Summarize the last 2 weeks in 5 minutes for me, John. We got our new Codex, which isn't bad. We got Fight on Death. We've got 4 ways to fight first. We lost +1 to charge, which is a bummer. And then with the points costs that come out today, Dreadnoughts and Armor, while they're going to be good, are really, really quite expensive. And some other units, mainly Sangre Guard, I think are really expensive. Lamartas are a chaplain with jump pack for Death Company with the jump pack. I like Lamartas. But I'll probably do a video on both. The free rule summary is up as well. There's a free... I made a video about this the other day, Highland Phoenix. There's a free quick start guide you can download and print off. So is it worth taking any actual Blood Angels unit? Dante is reasonably good costed. I think I'm definitely going to run Mephisto, and he's pretty good costed. I think Librarian Dreadnought is really useful. He's expensive, but I think he's really useful. I could be tempted to run a Sangre Priest with Vanguard Veterans, just because Vanguard Veterans are so much cheaper than Sangard. I could be tempted to run Tycho. I think Death Company with jump packs with Thunderhammers is probably still pretty good / core. And then I said Lamartas as well, potentially leading a Death Company. The Primaris Chaplain is insanely cheap for how much effectiveness. Shrugging Battle Shock. It makes Blade Guard much more killy. I haven't actually looked at Primaris Chaplain. Can he attach to Blade Guard, can he? And he gives him +1 to wound? The reason they show that what they've said Highland Phoenix is if it's not listed, you can't run it, basically. So, like, you have to run Death Company in 5 for 155 points or 10 for 310 points. There's no in between. You can run in between numbers, but it doesn't refund any of the points difference. Miguel sticking to Astrath. He's stubborn on him. Thoughts on Smash Captains Chaplains? It's hard to say. I guess if you have 100 points, and like I said, the Captain on the bike looked really cheap, and I obviously love my Captain on the bike. I was going to say, Captain on bike. So he can still have like a Storm Shield It's funny, it shows Thunderhammer here, but it doesn't actually say he can have a Thunderhammer. Hey Mark, thank you so much for the 5.
Mark Jackson donated $5 via Super Chat. I'm thinking Repulsors or Gladiators might be fun to play. I might finish my Storm Raven this edition. Bought it in A.
Yeah, I mean, Repulsor looked cheap. Gladiators look cheap. Like, if you compare them to the Dreadnoughts, they're actually quite cheap, yeah. Dreadnoughts are slightly more survivable. They got good toughness and a good save. So that's probably why Dreadnoughts are so expensive. The Corbolo beats Sangry Priest at those prices. Yeah, the only problem with Corbolo is his movement, right? The Librarian with Jump Pack does have a data card. It's just not in alphabetical order. I thought it didn't exist as well, Cal. Keep scrolling down the document, you'll find it. Death Company with Hammers already have Devastating Wounds, which makes Astroth kind of meh. Yeah, I mean, Astroth's advantage was to give Devastating Wounds to a Death Company, but Death Company are now expensive. Like, you can't run the Chainsword ones and have them nice and cheap, so Devastating Wounds doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Rizzo says my early take is these points are not probably well balanced. I mean, it seems like every time we change things, Rez, we get to a situation where things like this are not well balanced. Yes, there's some clear takeaways where it's like some units seem really good. Desolation Marines seem too cheap. I think Blade Guards seem like they've come out in a good place as well. The Ironclad Dreadnought looks much cheaper than some of the other ones. Some of the Gladiators look good. The Landspeeder looks good. I didn't even look at Tactical Marines. How much is a Did I glance over Tactical Squads? I just went like 175 points for a Tactical Squad, but you have to take them in a whole squad of 10. I don't know if I'd ever feel it. I mean, Tactical Squads can fall back and charge. Was it fall back and charge, or was it fall back and shoot? Or was it all three? I don't know, I haven't run a Tactical Squad in about 20 years at this point. Is it eligible shoot and declare a charge when it fell back? So you can fall back, shoot your bolters, and then charge with your close combat weapons, 2 attacks per model. Yeah, I mean, it's not horrific, I guess. I just don't know if I'm going to spend 175 points on a Tactical Squad. Mephiston Assault Intercessors looks pretty good. Yeah, I think I'm going to run Mephiston with Assault Intercessors. He doesn't get much choice of what he can go with. But Assault Intercessors for 90 points plus Mephiston, 210 points for the squad. That's not going to be too bad. Have you seen the points for Custodes bikes? I haven't. I don't have much more time right now. I've got like 5 more minutes. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we're finally in a place where army rules and data sheets are not too broken and are much more balanced, and now all we need is an update for the points. I mean, potential. One of the problems I suppose we have is, like, I think the Sangre Guard is a good example where it's like they don't want Blood Angels players running 3 squads of Sangre Guard. But rather than say, like, it's 0 to 1, you remember way back they used to say, like, you could only have 1 Death Company? Rather than say 0 to 1, they just make them prohibitively expensive. I suppose, like, they've said lethality is down across the board, so maybe Sangre Guard are better. I just don't see... I think it's pretty crazy that, like, a Terminator with more toughness, with double the number of wounds and invulnerable save is 15 points cheaper for the 5 models. I Have I seen the Imperium points, data sheets, and Agents of the Imperium? No, but I'll probably do a video on that soon, Crozier. I just wanted to run through the Blood Angels points real quickly. The Death Company makes... Lamartus makes Death Company immune to 1 damage. I don't know if he does make them immune to 1 damage. I think that might get FAQ'd. Because at the moment, he actually makes them immune to mortal wounds as well, right?
Buffalo
Because a mortal
Bolter
wound always
donated
does 1
$5
damage.
via Super
So
Chat.
rules as written at the moment,
Lamartez makes
Buffalo
DC
Bolter.
immune to 1 damage. Is that why the increase in points? I think it's
Lamartez
going to stay.
is going to make
Tanks
Death
and
Company
Guard have a
immune
mechanic for that
to mortal
too.
wounds and 1 damage weapons. I'm not sure that's how that's supposed to go. I guess that's maybe why his points... Even if he's just -1 damage, that's still big. That's still good, though. You can Armor of Contempt on Death Company for 1 CP, and Death Company were pretty good during the Armor of Contempt season. Like, a 3-up save, if AP is down across the board and people are hitting you with, like, 1 damage, or, well, I guess, like, 2 damage weapons at low AP, you can suddenly say, well, I save on 4s or something, and each one that goes through is only 1 damage. I think Lamartez is still going to be really good with Death Company. Mark's saying that they already fixed the immune to 1 damage, so it's confirmed it's going to be damage minimum 1. Perfect. Okay. But I still think it's really good. Reducing damage by 1. When, like, if a lot of things you're fighting have 2 damage weapons, that's huge. Especially considering Death Company do still have a Feel No Pain, and occasionally you can roll a couple of 6s, and suddenly, like, 3 2 damage attacks could just do 1 damage to you or something. Or, like, 3 2 damage fails on your armor save could just take 1 wound off a guy rather than killing 3 models. Like, it's pretty big. Okay, anyway. With Dante, Sanguinary Order -1 to hit and wound. In melee they are, yes. So in melee, they are more durable. However, it's much harder for us to get into melee now, Twilight's Death. -1 to charge is a big deal. I suppose with Dante we keep the +1 to charge, so maybe I was going to say, like, are they pushing us to have one? Are they pushing us to just have a 10-man Sanguinary Guard squad with Dante, and that's it? That's all the Sanguinary Guard you want? I mean, over the last 6 months, I've just run 5 Sanguinary Guard. And that was my choice. I just run 5 with Infernal Pistols. I preferred Death Company with Thunderhammers. But I really don't dislike Vanguard Veterans. There's a lot of flaming about Vanguard Veterans this week. I think at the points costs, you could run the 10-man Vanguard Veterans with the Sanguinary Priest, as well as I was going to say, I don't know if, like, I guess we'll have to see where things shake out. I'm going to have to get off. I'm going to be back later tonight. So leave a like on this video. Keep an eye out. Probably about 9 o'clock tonight, we'll have another stream. And we'll talk. I don't know exactly what we're going to talk about, but more brainstorm, more tactics, more questions from chat. There's a lot to dive into. I might, if I get time, try and build my first 10th edition army list. A Blood Angels list must have at least a 5-man Sanguinary Guard. And I mean, yeah, I mean, typically, I think the thing that's the most sad here is, like, the idea of behind, like, 2 or 3 7-man Sanguinary Guards are just gone. Like, that's just not an option anymore. I guess, I mean, that's going to hurt other chapters as well. I don't know if it hurts us more or less. Anyway, Twilight Death is going to try Dante and 10 Sanguinary Guard. Seems pretty tough and mobile. And I suppose if you've got the 10-man squad, then if you play Armor of Contempt on them, then you get maximum value out of it because it's a 10-man squad. And you also get the +1 to charge in the 10-man squad. You're going to overkill everything you charge, though, I think. Interesting. Lots of interesting things. Okay, I'll see you guys tonight. If you didn't see my channel trailer yet today, check it out because I spent ages on it. And I'm pretty pleased with the new channel trailer. I'll link it in the chat just before I go. If you guys can drop a like on it and watch the whole video as well, so that like the YouTube algorithm likes it, I'd appreciate that. Cool. All right, I'll see you guys tonight. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your afternoon. Peace.